Hare Krishna, all you wonderful devotees. So happy to be live again. It's been a week since we met. We meet regularly every Saturday, 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Indian time. So it's so lovely to see some of the devotees already logged in and saying Hare Krishna here in the chat section. Raseshwari Mataji, Shri Vidya Mataji, Tirumalai Kumaran sir, Shailaja Mataji. Although it's very early in the morning for you there in Troy, Michigan. And we also have Abhi Mataji joining us from Edinburgh, Chetan Prabhu, and then there is also Kusuma Mataji. Anybody else who's also logged in, please take a moment to say Hare Krishna. It's always lovely to see who's here. And meanwhile, I'm going to switch my screen and display the invocation prayers, pranama mantras. It's always important to invoke the supreme auspicious blessings of Supreme Lord Krishna and all our great acharyas and guru varyas, so that our class may go without any hindrance and obstacles. So we will do that, and today's topic is career dharma. So you may be wondering what kind of a title is this, career dharma? Well, you'll get to know shortly what exactly we are going to talk about, and we have a whole lot of ground to cover. I hope you're ready with your copy of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. I already have my copy here. I hope you have yours. And also I would recommend that please keep a notebook right next to you or something to type with if you're very tech savvy and you want to take digital notes. Either way, keep something handy so you can take some notes, because in some of the slides I have not really populated the slides with a whole lot of points as such. So if you can keep your notes handy, anything that you feel like it's going to be of importance to you, which you can go back and refer to later, so you can just quickly jot down some bullet points. Okay, so on that note, we are going to go ahead and chant our invocation prayers. I'm going to switch my screen and request that all of you sit straight wherever you are comfortably, and then if possible, please join your palms together and kindly repeat after me. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvishe Namaha. Namo Brahmanya Devaya Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha Jagadditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Let us chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra 3 times loudly together with love and devotion. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, dear devotees. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So dedicating today's session on career Dharma based on the principles of Srimad Bhagavad Gita unto the lotus feet of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, my most beloved spiritual master, founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness, ISKCON for short. So before we proceed further, let me quickly take a look at everybody else who has logged in this evening. There is Hemraz Lachuman. I hope I pronounced your profile name correctly. Saying Hare Krishna Mataji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. My humble obeisances unto you. My humble obeisances unto you as well. Shruti Mataji, Ganesh Rao sir, Vijay Rani Mataji, Leelavati Mataji, Ravi sir, Hare Krishna. So lovely to see you live. And there is Yogita Mataji. Very nice. Saraswati Mataji and someone called Flame. Deepa Giridhari Mataji just logged in. So Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, welcome everyone. So career Dharma is the topic that we are going to discuss for the next 1 hour 20 minutes or so approximately. But before we go any further, I would like all of you just take a moment and put it in the chat section. What do you do for a living? What is your occupation? How do you sustain yourself in the matter of earning your livelihood? What is your career? Are you a teacher? You're a business person? If you're a business person, maybe you can specifically say what business you are into. If you are a student, you're a homemaker, you're an IT professional. So whatever it is that you are doing to earn your livelihood, please put it in the chat section. There's about 30 seconds lag between me speaking and you hearing. So I'm going to patiently wait while you go ahead and type in your answers. So that way we kind of get a broad idea of what kind of audience we are catering to live in the live audience here. Of course, many people may be watching later as a recorded video, but at least as of now, I would like to get a grasp as to in what field you are in. Okay, so Raseshwari Mataji is the first one to go. She's saying, I run a boutique with the grace of the Lord. All right, wonderful. Yogita Mataji is saying she's a teacher. Very nice. Shruti ji is saying she's a bank employee. Wonderful, very nice. Abhirami Mataji is saying she's a software engineer. Awesome. So what about others? Ganesh Rauji, Vijay Rani Mataji, Chetan Prabhu, Tirumalai Kumaran sir is a pediatrician and an agriculturist. How wonderful is that? Very, very nice. Ganesh Rao sir is saying he's an accountant. Sri Vidya Mataji is saying she's an educationist in the area of mathematics. Leelavati ji is saying BSNL VRS employee. Oh, how nice. Okay. What about others? Could you please take a moment and put in your answers? Deepa Giridhari Mataji is a homemaker. Lovely. Very nice. What about everybody else? So what do you do? Banuji is just saying Hare Krishna Mataji. So Banu Mataji, we just asked a question. What do you do for a living? What's your occupation? Please put that also in the chat section. So I'd like to hear from everybody actually. Get an idea. So let's see who else is answering. What do you do for a living? Ravi sir is saying he is a finance professional. Awesome. Very nice. Amazing. Anybody else? Banuji is saying she's a software engineer. Okay. Nice. Somebody else also said software engineer. Abhirami Mataji. All right. Very good. Okay. So we have a wide spectrum of careers here. Dev Chandan just logged in. Hare Krishna, who happens to be an engineering student. Hemrajji is saying gardening and serving Krishna. Very nice. Beautiful. Serving Krishna and gardening. Quite interesting. Vijay Rani Mataji is saying she is a Tupperware and Oriflame consultant. Interesting. First time I'm hearing somebody Tupperware and Oriflame consultant. Very nice. So we have a wide spectrum, a variety of, careers. Dave is saying doing software engineering right now. Oh, all right. Okay. Very nice. Lovely. So you may be wondering, what is this career dharma? We've heard about Hindu dharma, Sanatana dharma, the Islam dharma, Christ dharma. We've heard about Sri dharma, Purusha dharma. But what is this career dharma? Well, Krishna actually uses the word varna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And varna means occupation. And occupation is related to one's career. So that is why varna dharma, we are calling it career dharma. And I have to take a moment here to give credit to a whole lot of content and plus this title career dharma, what I'm using today in today's session actually is drawn from an amazing devotee called Urmila Devi Dasi, Urmila Mataji. She's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada who received initiation in the year 1973 and has been serving ISKCON in a wide variety of capacities since then. She is also a prolific author. She has many books to her credit. She's a voracious preacher and she, along with the co-author, Dr. Ruchira Datta, Rukmini Devi Dasi. So both of them are working on a book called Career Dharma. So that's why today's title is also Career Dharma. And although that book is yet to be published, Urmila Mataji has been very generous with her knowledge pertaining to this field, that she has already given quite a lot of classes on a wide variety of topics related to Career Dharma, which I happened to stumble upon and absolutely loved it. And it has added a lot of value and clarity to my own life. And also I've been sharing this in my one-to-one sessions with some of them. And they are also finding it quite interesting and useful to help gain clarity in their own careers. So I have to give all the credit to her actually today for whatever content I'm going to share. So she's done a tremendously impressive job on this, very, very deep research, coming up with the terms, and especially in terms of making it relevant today's time and age. So if you would like, please go ahead and check her out. Many of her lectures are there on YouTube. It's also there in Audio ISKCON Desire Tree, and many other such platforms. So thank you very much to Urmila Mataji, and let's get into the session. So many people think that we live our life in different compartments. We think, okay, there's one compartment of my life which is exclusively for my Krishna conscious activities, for my sadhana, where we do our chanting and studying of scriptures, attending classes like these, serving the Lord directly. And then we think there's another segment, a big chunk of it, about 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day, which is dedicated to earning our livelihood. So we think that is another compartment. And then yet another segment of our life we think is to take care of our personal relationships, our personal chores. So we almost like it's a split personality. We think that my devotee persona is hidden when I'm wearing my hat of a software engineer or a teacher or, a pediatrician, a financial professional. We think I have to be like a different person when it comes to my career, my occupation, and yet another different, altogether a different person when it comes to Krishna conscious life. But actually, Krishna does not recommend such a segmented, fragmented life. Instead, Krishna recommends a very holistic, integrated life which completely spiritualizes us at every moment. It's not like only my chanting spiritualizes me. Of course, although that is Yuga Dharma and the most important aspect of our Krishna conscious life. But even what we do as part of our earning livelihood is also supposed to take us closer to Krishna, help us become more Krishna conscious. So the broad objective for today's session is hopefully by the end of the session, we will gain some clarity and understanding as to how to bring about this holistic system, this integration into our life, where our career is not separate from our Krishna conscious life, but it is a part of it. In fact, it facilitates us and helps us progress in our Krishna conscious life. So that's the idea, and I have a few items as part of today's agenda. So let's see what they are, and I hope you're all ready with your notes and copy of Bhagavad Gita. There are a few important shlokas which we are going to refer to, and then I will be sharing a whole lot of points. Please make sure that you keep an open mind. Don't be too judgmental at this point. Keep an open mind, and whatever you feel like, jot it down. And remember, the recording is going to be here on the YouTube channel, Aradhana Online YouTube channel. You can always come back to it later if there are certain sections you want to revisit. All right, with that kind of a foundation and background, let's get into it. So we have a 5-point agenda today. The very first thing that I would like for us to do is take a look at model 1, because we are going to look at two models, model 1 and 2. So first model talks about the 4 fields, and the second objective is to look at model number 2, which dives into the 6 prosperities. So 4 fields, 6 prosperities. And the third item is we are going to do some matchmaking. And there are 3 things that we are going to match. Our own nature with the field and with prosperity. So you see how 1 and 2 are essential for number 3 to happen. If we don't know and if we don't have a good understanding of the 4 fields and the 6 prosperities, it becomes difficult to connect these with our nature. So number 3 is matchmaking between nature and field and prosperity. And number 4, we are going to look at the dangers of crossing the fields. You may belong to, actually your nature may be fitting into one particular field, but you may be doing work in entirely another field. Now, what is the danger of that? So we'll take a look, a sneak peek into that. And then finally, the last segment, we are going to talk about the 8 principles of career Dharma. 8 principles of career Dharma. So now I'm not really sure if we are going to be able to cover all the 5 items today, but let's see. If we cannot cover everything, then we can always cover it next Saturday also. So the first thing is 4 fields, model 1. So Krishna in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, oh, I actually had the Sloka 4.13, looks like it got deleted. By mistake, I must have deleted it. So if you have your copy of Bhagavad Gita, please go to 4th chapter and 13th Shloka. Or maybe what I can quickly do is I will go to Veda base. Yeah, here we go. Let me go to 4.13. I'll display it here on my screen. So 4th chapter, 13th Shloka. So Krishna says, Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam guna karma vibhagashah tasya kartaram abhimam vidya kartaram avyayam. Chaturvarnyam maya srishtam. So Krishna is telling he's created a very scientific system for all the careers to fit in nicely. So if you can imagine any career for that matter, any kind of occupation, it's going to fit into one of the 4 fields, Varna. So Varna is career, occupation. In other words, it can also be called a field. So Chaturvarnyam, that means Krishna is creating how many fields? Chatu means 4. So 4 fields. And based on what did he create? Guna, karma, vibhagashah. He has demarcated these 4 fields based on 2 things, guna and karma. Based on one's qualities, that is guna, and based on one's karma, activities, work, occupation, guna, karma, vibhagashah. Tasya kartaram apimam vidya kartaram avyayam. So according to the 3 modes of material nature and the work associated with them, the 4 divisions of human society are created by me. And although I am the creator of the system, you should know that I am yet the non-doer, being unchangeable. So very important that Krishna himself is has created these 4 fields. So now what are these 4 fields? You may have already heard Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But the moment we use these terms and say Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, many people associate these 4 fields to caste. They think, oh, this is all caste system. And then people have a whole lot of prejudice, preconceived notions about, these 4 fields, lot of misunderstandings. One, they think that, oh, this is just a caste system created by some, high class society people in order to look down upon and exploit the people from the lower fields. So they think certain field is superior, certain fields are inferior. And also people think, oh, this distinction is not really relevant for the modern age that we live in. How do we even know who is Brahmana, who is Kshatriya, who is Vaishya, who is Shudra? So they think this is obsolete system, this is outdated system, which is not relevant for this yuga, this present age, is what people think. These are just few of the misconceptions, but there are a whole lot of other preconceived notions. But nothing could be farther from the truth. This is not at all the case. Krishna, the Supreme Creator, knows what he is talking about. And when Krishna creates something, it has a lot of depth and meaning behind it. So if we can understand the relevance of these four fields, like today, in this time, in this age, and for you and me, how does it affect our own life? We could benefit a lot. So first of all, even before we understand the four fields, we define these four fields, let's ask this important question. Well, why only four fields? Why only Chatuvarna? Why not Dashavarna? Why not have like 10 fields, 6 fields, 20 fields? Why specifically just 4 fields? Isn't it? It's an interesting question. So the answer for this could be quite wide, but then we'll focus just on 4 points. The 4 fields, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, they exist even in the simplest of society. Any society you take, urban society, rural society, some Indus Valley civilization, Mayan civilization, any civilization you take, any type of society you take, Western society, Eastern society, whatever society you take, from the simplest of the societies to the most complex of the societies, these 4 fields exist. And number 2, these 4 fields, it's not like, some latest invention by someone, but it is apaurushaya. So not only in Bhagavad Gita, but also in Vedas, especially Rig Veda, elaborate discussion, elaborate descriptions are given about these Chatuvarnas, the 4 fields. And they are apaurushaya, that means they are existing since the time of creation. So you can understand, right? If something is existing since the time of creation, that means it's been always relevant. We think it is not relevant today because of our own lack of understanding. So individual careers may come and go. There may be certain careers which is relevant now. It may not even exist 20 years later. There may have been some careers a few decades ago which may not even exist now. So careers come and go, but these 4 fields continue to exist. They have stood the test of time. And very important, the next point, the dharma of each field is unique. The dharma of the Brahmana field is distinctly unique from the dharma of a Kshatriya to the dharma of a Vaishya to the dharma of a Shudra. So the main focus when we talk about each of these fields is what is the dharma in each field. So we're not simply going to talk about the skill and the qualities which are needed to excel in a field, but also what is the dharma, which is the essential feature. Only when we can tap into the dharma of each of these fields, we can get closer to Krishna. And because the dharma is unique in each of these fields, what is strength in one of them could become a weakness in another. Like what is a strength for a Brahmana may become a weakness for a Vaishya. Like honesty is a strength for Brahmana. But for a businessman, sometimes he may have to, cross the line when it comes to being absolutely honest and doing business. And there are several others like that. Strength in one field may become a weakness in the other. So you can't simply replicate, use a broad brush approach to all the 4 fields in the same manner. So these are few of the reasons why Krishna has restricted all the careers into 4 fields. And the moment we say field, right, if you can take like the traditional fields, like a paddy field, wheat field, millet field, maize field, corn field. So usually the fields are fenced off to protect the fields. So that way there is no crossing between the fields. There is a nice fencing. So similarly, these four fields, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, also needs to be fenced. They are covered. When there is cross between the different fields, it's dangerous, which we will see in Krishna's own words. He's going to say how it is bhayavaha, it is dangerous. So having understood why only four fields, now let's see what are these fields, okay? So this is where now you need to start really absorb like a sponge. So for the lack of simplicity, Urmila Mataji along with her co-author, they have used different terms for Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Just to make it more relevant, but they are the same thing, okay? In Sanskrit it is Brahmana, in English terms they are going to use a different term, but the meaning is the same. So instead of Shudra, the English title used is field of artistry. And the next field, that is the Vaishya field, is called the field of resources. Now we are going to go deep into this. We are going to define each of them so you get a clear understanding. And then the other one is Kshatriya. So it's called the field of government. And then Brahmana, it's the field of ideas. Okay, so there is field of artistry, Shudra, field of resources, Vaishya, field of government for Kshatriya, and field of ideas for Brahmanas. So now I'm going to switch my screen in a way where you can only see me, and let's define these four fields, okay? We are going to take a deep dive into these four. So let's get into it now. So let's first talk about the field of artistry, that is Shudra class. And keep in mind, not all four fields are necessary for the proper functioning of the society. So it's not like one is superior, other is inferior, one is needed more and the other is not needed, not like that. All four are needed. So let's see the field of artistry first. So what is field of artistry? Field of artistry is the one that they provide functioning and beauty in the society. I use two key terms here, function and beauty. So the two key terms, I'm reiterating it so you get it clear. So function and beauty. So everything everyone does is for the sake of enjoyment. So enjoyment is, the term in Sanskrit is rasa, that mellow. And that rasa in the society, the beauty in the society is provided by this class of people, the field of artistry. So function providing in the society could be like a plumber, like a manufacturing engineer, or the person who is working as an operator, running a machine. It could be a goldsmith, it could be a blacksmith. You know, of course, now you may say, well, blacksmith and all is kind of, we don't see those many, but there are so many other, a lot of IT industry, like a few of you said you are in software engineering. It could come under the field of function or artistry. You know, it could be an architect. It could be a doctor working for a certain hospital under somebody. But if somebody is in the medical field as a doctor, but they're actually more like a teacher guiding the junior doctors, or they're into research, then they are not in artistry and function. Okay, so anybody doing anything that is providing a certain function in the society, electrician, I already talked about plumber, it could be a banking person, finance person, anybody who is fulfilling a certain function in the society. And also people who are into, let's say, dance, fine arts, music, craft. You know, anything that they're functioning, they're providing certain rasa, anything to do with arts and crafts, anything in the creative field. So they all come under this field of artistry. Okay. Now, how do we understand? Because all through we have to get a hold on how do we understand who is in what field. So, what are certain proclivities? What are certain qualities based on which we can say this person is showing the potential for field of artistry? Because it is the job of the parents and the teachers to identify the nature, the guna. What did Krishna say? Guna karma vibhagashaha. So our karma should be aligned with our guna, our nature. So how to identify that nature? Parents have to observe the child. The teacher has to observe the child, just like Dronacharya. Not everybody is getting the same education in his Gurukula. Some things are common, but some things are different. Like some scriptural study and all could be common for everybody. But when it comes to earning a livelihood, expertise, Dronacharya could identify well in Arjuna, the expertise, his guna, his quality is in archery. Bhima, it is in mace fighting. For Yudhishthira, it is spear fighting. So to identify the guna, then accordingly to give the training. But unfortunately, in today's education system, this is lacking, and even parents don't have the time to really pinpoint the guna of the child. So everybody is treated the same, and that is why we have so many unhappy people when they grow up, because they end up doing karma which is not aligned with their guna. There is a mismatch between guna and karma. So in the field of artistry, how do we identify that somebody is cut out for this field? They say, I really enjoy. They really enjoy and say that, I made that. Whoever this person who just put something, I'm going to get you, I'm going to remove you. So do not put anything that's not relevant in the comment section. It's very distracting for the speaker and the audience. So in the field of artistry, people like to say that I made that. They enjoy making things. They enjoy figuring out how to use certain tools and technologies. They like to play with such, whether it is digital tools or handmade tools. And then they love to say that I fixed that, I made that, I cleaned that. Their joy is in doing certain things, providing certain functions. And usually these people, they're really good, like I said, in using the tools, and sometimes their own body is a tool, like for a dancer, musician, their voice, their body, that itself becomes a tool. And the joy for these people is actually to see somebody else using what they have made. So like for a painter, they love to see their painting hanging in somebody else's living room. For a fashion designer, they love to see somebody wearing the dress that they have designed. That's why they say, right, the plumber, their own home is not that aesthetically, they've done the plumbing, but everybody else, whenever the plumber goes, even the plumbing, they want it to be aesthetic and beautiful, where the pipes are covered off and it's all nicely plastered and clean and beautiful to look at. Even an architect, right, they're giving a sense of beauty by designing nice houses. So these people, they derive joy by seeing somebody else use what they have built. And the qualities, other qualities are, these people are quite self-satisfied people. They're not highly ambitious type of people. They're not too much into like, oh, I wish I expanded this or I did more of that or this. They are quite simple. They're quite satisfied with simple things, simple livelihood. And for them, the satisfaction is not necessarily in the reward they get after the work is done, but actually the work itself is their satisfaction. Yeah, they may get some money out of, doing certain jobs. That is secondary for them. They may get a round of applause after they finish their performance on the stage. That is secondary for them. While they're performing the art itself, they're deriving the joy. While they're doing that work itself, they're very happy and joyful. In fact, ideally, they should go into a flow state when working in such state. So there is this description in the Shastra that there was an arrow maker. Nothing too fancy, a simple arrow maker. So it is said that he was sitting by the side of the road and he was so engrossed in his arrow making, he was sharpening the arrow with such focused concentration that an entire entourage of a king passed by on that street. And when somebody came just a few seconds after the entourage left, they said, "Did the queen go by this way?" And the arrow maker said, "I have no idea." So he was so engrossed in his work of arrow making that he forgot entirely that there was, a parade which just passed by. So people who are in the field of artistry doing their work, ideally they should go into this flow state. That is their, that's how they get the joy, that satisfaction, where they're so immersed in what they're doing. So these are some proclivities based on which we can identify. Like there was one girl who was so much into, acrobatics. So every moment she would get a chance during the break or during between classes, she wants to try all these different poses. It just came naturally to use her body to do all these things. And I just jokingly asked her, "What do you want to, do when you grow up?" And she said she wants to win a gold medal in the Olympic gymnastics. A very, very specific goal. So anybody who is having such proclivities, we may identify that this person is in the field of artistry, and we have to give them training accordingly. Whatever that potential they are having. So while these are the proclivities, what is the expertise in that particular field of artistry? How do we know? It's not that, they've become the best architect, best software engineer or something like that. That's okay. They're upgrading their skill and everything. But the expertise is, remember, it's all tied to Dharma. So the expertise is when they're being authentic and being honest. Honesty is the most important Dharma in field of artistry. Isn't that what all the employers are looking for? To have loyal employees. Like when you go to a car mechanic, of course you want him to be a good car mechanic who is capable of fixing things, fixing your car properly. But you want a honest one, not a dishonest one who is going to replace your car parts with some, low grade ones and cheat you. Or who is going to put some low grade parts and cheat you by saying that he's put a better part and take money from you, which breaks down again in a few weeks' time. So in the field of artistry, especially given that they usually work for the other three fields, they are supporting the other three fields. So what is most important in the field of artistry is honesty, integrity. Not trying to exploit. Like there are some corporate employees, right? They don't really put in the amount of work, or they're not doing what they're supposed to do. They're actually trying to exploit their employer. So they're not being good artists or people who provide function in the society. So this person, whoever is putting this unnecessary comment here, I'm going to have to report you as a spam. Okay. So honesty and integrity, we said, is the zenith. And the two important questions that people in this field constantly ask is it beautiful? Is it supportive? Is it supportive means are they providing the function in that society properly, whatever it is that they're doing? So is it beautiful and is it supportive? So, and if we take a sample size of 1000 people in the society, approximately 900 people will be field of artistry. 900. So a majority of the society come under this field. Very, very important. So now while this was field of artistry, let's go to the next varna, that is field of resources, who we call Vaishyas. So how do we know that somebody, first of all, what do these people do, the Vaishyas, field of resources? These people like to play with natural resources. They are very, very good in identifying the resources like land, crops, animals, anything natural actually, and even money like stock exchange, trading, if they're doing it at a major big level. So they are able to identify and use the natural resources and manipulate the flow of natural resources in a way to create profit for them. So please pay attention to this field of resources, because the next one, field of government, may sound similar to this, but there are some very clear differences between the two. So in field of resources, these people are very, very ambitious, unlike the field of artistry people. You know, they are constantly wanting to expand the business, scale their business, go into different ventures. In fact, Bhagavatam calls them that, you know, Trishna, they're always thirsty. Not necessarily thirsty for water, which I am actually, so I'm going to take a sip of water. So these people are always thirsty. Thirsty for what? For more profits, for expansion, for scaling. They're never satisfied actually. And their primary objective is to create wealth for themselves. So this is the field which creates wealth, which generates wealth. The other field that we just talked about, field of artistry, they actually get their wealth by working for one of the other fields. But in field of resources, they are the generators of wealth. So whatever God provided resources are there, natural resources, they manipulate it in a way that, you know, they use it to generate wealth. So their first objective is to create wealth for themselves. And then they also create job opportunities for others and also help distribute that wealth in the form of salary and perks. But their first agenda is to make themselves wealthy, and in the process of creating wealth for them, they may also provide wealth for others. And also in the society, the biggest amount of charities, it comes from these people in field of resources. Like if you see so many buildings, other than the government buildings, any private buildings that you see, which is charitable or for artistic functions, it's all coming from big business magnets. And even in the West, it is the same, like Carnegie Mellon Institutes, you know, conference halls, museums, or Ford or Rockefeller. And even in India also, if we see most of the big business magnates, they are also charitably disposed, and also they are patrons of the art. And they may support some NGOs, so very charitably disposed. And these people, they are willing to take risks, calculated risks, And they're very much goal oriented, unlike the field of artistry people. And these people are also systems thinkers. They can't think only about their own field. Now they have to think about, competitors and the job market and the resource market, the trends that are emerging, what are the needs of the society, skill set, the economic ups and downs, the bull market, the bear market, when to trade money. So just like a farmer who also comes, if they're big time into agriculture and farming, they are also dealing with natural resources. So they come in the field of resources. So just like an agriculturist looks for the seasons, like Tirumalai Kumaran sir said, right? He is into agriculture along with being a pediatrician. So just like a farmer knows what is the right season to plant and what is the right season to harvest, a trader knows what is the right season to invest money and buy the stocks and what is the right season to, trade the stock and sell it off and make money. So these people are systems thinkers, so they can think that way. They can grasp what to do, when to hold, when to buy, when to sell, what business to get into. So they are big picture thinkers, they're systems thinkers, they understand the flow of resources and they can redirect the flow of the resources to fill their own pockets. So if anybody has this ability to be very resourceful and generate money, they are coming from this field of resources. And the expertise in this field, again, remember Dharma. While in field of artistry, it was honesty and integrity. In the field of resources, it is being very charitable. That is their dharma. Not hoarding wealth, but to distribute wealth after they generate wealth. And becoming patrons of the arts, supporting the field of artistry. And the questions that these people ask, the main question is it sustainable? They want to create systems in place in a way that it sustains itself and it keeps generating money over and over and over again. They may be golfing somewhere, vacationing somewhere, but they've created systems by employing the field of artistry people in a way that it keeps generating money for them. So is it sustainable? And is it regeneratable? Can you do it again and again? So this is field of resources. So these are some of the key things to keep in mind. Now moving further, the field of government, that is Kshatriyas. So now this category of people in the field of government, for them the lifeblood is to care about people. They're very caring and concerned, and they're also systems thinkers only. They want to create systems. But they're creating systems not necessarily to generate wealth, but to distribute wealth. Isn't that what a government does? Collects money in the form of taxes and other different ways and then redistributes that wealth to take care of the less privileged ones in the society, to create infrastructure, to create systems. So the commonality is both field of resources and field of government. They are goal oriented and they're systems thinkers and they think big. They are always expanding. But the difference is the field of resources, they are generating wealth. Field of government is collecting wealth and distributing wealth. I hope you catch the subtle difference. And also yet another important difference between the Vaishya and the Kshatriya class, that is field of resources and field of government, is the Vaishya class, they want to first take care of themselves and then the people. Just like in the plane they say, right? In the case of emergency, put on your own oxygen mask first and then you help other members. So Vaishya people are like that. First they want to make wealth and then distribute. But in the field of government, they are not too much concerned about making wealth for themselves, but they are more interested in taking care of the people. So key difference between the two. And these people, Kshatriyas, they want to protect, they want to provide. They are also very expert in identifying the emerging trends, what are the needs of the people. And they're also in the forefront in fighting for justice and fairness and ethics and rules and policies. So anytime there is any kind of injustice in the society, it's this category of people, this field, that they jump to the forefront. They're organizing protests and candle marches, signing up petitions and things like that. And they're arranging for sanitation, water, and electricity, and food, and education. And a similar trait is just like the field of resources, they're always in the mood for expansion. Field of government also, they're also not satisfied with small. They also want to keep expanding. Let's say they started a school. They're not satisfied with just one school. If they get any additional money, they want to open another one, and they want to keep bringing more and more students and help more and more people. And these people are quite determined and decisive and goal-oriented and systems thinking. And just like in Vaishya class, they're able to detect natural resources. These people are able to detect the talent in people and use it properly, engage these people in a way that it can serve the greater good for the society. So these people are natural leaders. They have quite a lot of charisma. And the expertise of this class, that is the Kshatriya class, is that all the chapter 18 qualities of leadership, Kshatriya qualities that Krishna talks about. Heroism, risk-taking, resourceful, generosity, always give mentality. They don't back off when there is danger. They rush into, they head straight into danger zones in a way of protecting others. Shat means hurt. So all these are amazing qualities of the field of government people. And the main questions that these people ask, is it just and fair? And is it honorable? So these people are very, very cautious of their reputation. The reputation they have is the currency they use. So for them, more than cash, their honor is more important in this class. If they are not honorable, if they don't have good reputation, then how can they be leading and serving the society, so many people? So is it just, is it fair, and is it honorable? Those are the questions these people ask. So I hope some kind of clarity is coming by now, right? So the field of artistry, the field of resources, the field of government, and you can already see that how all these are relevant even today. So Kshatriya doesn't mean only a king or a queen, monarchy. No, even in democracy, people who have this kind of attitude, this kind of mentality, these kinds of qualities, guna, they are suited for this. People who are running NGOs, any kind of position they have for doing all these things. And sometimes even without a position, without a title, if they're having this kind of a bent of mind and they're doing such service to the society, they're from field of government. So government doesn't mean that they have to be actually be serving the government directly. It is the nature, proclivity. And finally, we have the field of ideas, brahmanas. So these people like to play with ideas, wisdom, language, mathematics. These people are constantly hungry and thirsty for more knowledge, more knowledge, more knowledge. They can take like a little thing and go deep, 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 or they could have a vast amount of knowledge about so many different things. So anybody who is in the area of teaching, and especially when they are in the quest for truth and wisdom, that characterizes this field of ideas people. So all kinds of teachers, researchers, priests, counselors, therapists, Even some journalists, if they're also in the quest of seeking truth and not being biased and bought by, the Vaishyas, they can also be coming under the field of ideas. Scientists. So, for example, now, if somebody is in the field of music, but if they are performing music, then they are in the field of artistry. But if they're using music, if they're actually teaching music, and also using music as a medium to bring people closer to the philosophical truths of life, then they're actually in the field of ideas. So you see the distinction. So you can't simply say all the music field is in the field of artistry. No, it depends on what they're doing actually. If they're teaching it with the quest for truth, then they're in the field of ideas. But if they're actually performing it, then they're in the field of artistry. So we have to actually look at several things before we categorize them in any of the fields. And like I said, they're insatiably curious. They have this ability to go on deepening their knowledge. They're never satiated. And they're really good in seeing the patterns and relationships. They can connect the dots and make sense out of things. So these are all Brahmana class, field of ideas. And what is the expertise in this field? Krishna talks about it again in the 18th chapter. They are peaceful. They are, very austere. And there are some commonalities between this class and the Shudra class, field of artistry. Both are self-satisfied. But field of artistry, they're satisfied in the way of economic living, a simple home, simple living. But in the field of ideas, their satisfaction is more internal satisfaction because they are riveting on the realm of knowledge and intellect. So that is why scientists we see, right? They are actually poets who are all from this class. They're not so much into money and their appearance and things like that, or it's not like I want another home. They're not into all those things. They're actually getting their sense of joy from immersing themselves in ideas and wisdom and truth. So their basic thing is collect knowledge, distribute, share knowledge. Collect knowledge, share knowledge, and bring people closer to truth, the supreme truth. And the main questions that this class of people ask is it true? And is it wise? Is it true? Is it wise? So this is broadly defining the four categories of people. Field of artistry, Shudras, field of resources, Vaishyas, field of government, Kshatriyas, and field of ideas, Brahmanas. So now let's go into our slides and let's talk about the second model. So these are the four fields. Again, they're very vast, but we just touched upon the basics. So now let's talk about the model 2, which talks about 6 prosperities. Now we all know Krishna is Shad Aishwarya Purna, that is why he is called Bhagavan. Krishna is the only one who has all these 6 prosperities in full, complete. But each of us also can enjoy these prosperities, one or more, to different degrees. And why is it important to understand these 6 prosperities? Because these different fields that we talked about, each one provides a certain type of prosperity. And each individual, based on the nature that they have, they are going to cherish a certain type of prosperity. Now, I'm sure you all will agree with me that wealth does not mean only in terms of cash. Wealth does not mean only in terms of how much money you have in your bank, what kind of house you have. It's not the only type of wealth. Because we all know people who are cash rich, but actually they're miserable. And we also know some people who are cash poor, but they're very happy. So what are these other prosperities other than just wealth? So there are 6 of them, and one of them is Aishwarya, and Aishwarya comes from the word Ishwara. Ishwara means to control, and to be able to control sections of society or certain number of people, because you hold a certain position, because of the wealth you have. And it could also mean the ability to control your own life, that you don't have a boss to report to, you are your own boss, you're able to make your own decisions, and you're able to lead your life the way you want. And also you have a sense of luxury, and you are able to identify other people's needs and provide for other people's needs in whatever capacity. This is all the prosperity of Aishwarya. Power, organizational leadership, you have a certain title and position, a sense of control in your own life. So this is one type of prosperity. The next one is Jnana. So Jnana means always learning, studying, being curious, always in the quest for finding the essence of things. So this is all related to Jnana. So Jnana is also a type of prosperity. Just now we talked about field of ideas. So some people are very happy when they're able to dive deep into various different types of knowledge. Teaching, learning, accumulating knowledge, guiding other people, counseling other people. They really thrive in such an environment. And yet another type of prosperity is virya. Now virya means vitality, strength. Now strength could be physical strength, it could be mental strength. And so people in sports, dance, yogasanas, right, and warfare, all these people, for them actually the prosperity is virya, physical strength, and even mental strength actually. And people whoever is into the health sector, so for them primary prosperity is virya, vigor, vitality, health, strength. And then Shri. Shri means beauty, splendor, grace. Like certain people have a certain charisma. That is, Shri. Very majestic. Shri literally means Lakshmi, Lakshmi Devi, opulence. So prosperity in general, okay? So people in this, they're very graceful, they have a certain majesty and charisma about them, they have a certain eye for taste. We say, right, certain people, the way they dress, the way they keep their home, the way they arrange their desk, everything, there is a sense of beauty and symmetry to what they do. So that is Shri. And next one is Yasha. Now, Yasha means fame, but not just fame, because fame means Kirti. But Yasha, it is said in the scriptures, is the son of Kirti and Dharma. So, Kirti means Kirtana. Just, some people are glorifying you and being famous. But we all know in the society, right? Some people are famous for being famous. It's not like they're very righteous or they've done some greater good or something. They're just famous being famous. That's not Yasha. Yasha means you are famous for the right reasons. Kirti and Dharma. And naturally, when somebody is famous, they have community, they have fan following. It comes with it. They live in an environment of appreciation and acknowledgement and glorification. So for some people, even if they don't get much Aishwarya, money or something, but they want Yasha, they thrive in Yasha. That is what brings life. That is what makes them alive. Yasha. And then the last one, of course, it's not like top, bottom or something like that. There are just 6 types of prosperities. So the 6th one is Vairagya. This is a very unique and interesting prosperity. So Vairagya means renunciation. Basically, Raga means attachment. Y means to give up attachment. So Vairagya means no attachment, detachment, to renounce. like Mahatma Gandhi. Right? It's not like it was not because of his appearance or things like that, but mostly it was because of his renunciation, his simplicity, that he was so famous. He was known for many great stages. So even people who have a lot of Aishwarya and Yasha, they come and fall at the feet of saints because their prosperity is Vairagya. They have given up these things, especially women and money. So how does this apply to us? If we have a sense of freedom, equanimity, you're not under somebody else's control, you get to call your own shot, you get to schedule your life the way you want, you get to work the number of hours you want to work, you get to do the projects that you want to do. So this sense of detachment and equanimity and that sense of balance and freedom, all this comes under Vairagya. So now not everybody is driven equally by all six prosperities. For some people, they value Aishwarya. For some people, it is Yasha. For some people, it is Virya. For some people, it is Jnana and Vairagya. So it depends on who you talk to. Based on their nature, they cherish and they come alive due to certain prosperities. They value certain prosperities above others. And the link between the four fields and the six prosperities is that, for example, let's say field of ideas, Brahmana class. So anybody who is in the field of ideas, it's a lucrative field to get Jnana and Vairagya. It's natural. So if somebody is very much driven by Vairagya, Jnana, the ideal field for them will be field of ideas. And in field of resources, it is Aishwarya. And in the field of government, Kshatriya class, it is mostly Yasha, fame. We mentioned, right? Fame is the currency, popularity. And in the field of artistry, it's about Shri, the beauty, the aesthetic, the function, the, art. So it is Shri. But not to say that all the careers in that field will give all these things. Because, for example, let's say I jotted down this. Let's say, for example, the prosperity of Virya. If we take Virya in the artistry field, it could be a builder, it could be a dancer. They're from the field of artistry and they need Virya. And if we take the area of government, it is soldiers, firefighting, police officers. They are also thriving in Virya, but they are from the field of government. And if you take from the field of resources, farmers, business people who are into producing health products, it's Virya. And in the field of ideas, somebody who is teaching martial arts and yoga, they also come, they also derive Virya as the prosperity. So we see how that one prosperity Virya, depending on which field you're talking about, there are different careers which actually give that prosperity of Virya. So now a quick question that I want to ask all of you before going into how to identify one's nature is please examine just for a few seconds and put it in the chat section which opulence or prosperity are you driven by? I'll go first. For me, it is Jnana and Vairagya. And actually, earlier when I was in my corporate life, 9 years of my life doing corporate job, actually I was not satisfied. Because my corporate job was giving me Aishwarya, but not so much of freedom, that is Vairagya and Jnana, where I could dive into the topics that I like and research and learn and teach. Occasionally, I used to give presentations and lead some workshops and all that, and I used to really love that aspect of my job. But the other aspects where I was just getting a good paycheck at the end of the month and I was quite good as an industrial engineer, having a master's degree and all that, but I was not getting what I wanted, that is jnana and vairagya. So because there was a mismatch between my guna and karma, working as an industrial engineer for somebody else in a company, although I was climbing the corporate ladder, I was not very happy. Because the prosperities I wanted was jnana and vairagya, and the one that I was getting was aishwarya. So there was no match. But when I remolded my career in a way, right now what I do as an entrepreneur in the area of personality development, coaching, counseling, influencer, it's actually giving me jnana and vairagya, and Krishna's mercy, aishwarya is also taken care of. But I'm so much more satisfied now because my guna and karma, because I thrive in learning and teaching. Like right now, that's exactly what I'm doing, isn't it? So this is what brings me to life, makes me come alive. And I'm getting the prosperities that I'm actually looking for. And I'm doing that, and I'm in the field that is suited for me. And for somebody who is in the field of ideas, the Brahmana, to be working in field of artistry is the worst type of a mismatch. And that's exactly what was happening for me. So no wonder I was frustrated. In spite of making good money, I was not internally satisfied. But by the grace of Krishna and Prabhupada, by realigning my life, having the courage to do so, I'm more satisfied. And I hope by Krishna Prabhupada's mercy, it continues more and more. Okay. So please put in the chat section, which prosperity are you driven by? For me, it is jnana and vairagya. What is it for you? So Banu Mataji is telling for her, it is jnana. What about others? I would like to see a few more answers. Ravi sir is saying, how many of us in real world are contented given that most of us are Shudras? How will we able to characterize more accurately? Yeah, so this is where Ravi sir, we have to go into identifying the nature. And the earlier the nature is detected and the earlier the training is given for our students, children to go in that particular field, the more content they are going to be. But it takes a certain amount of observation and expertise to be able to find these. Because how do you know when you see a lemon seed? It is very difficult to know that this is a lemon seed and a lemon tree is going to come out of this. Like the other day, along with my family members, we were doing a little gardening and my mom was sowing all these different seeds. I couldn't tell one from the other. Then I had to ask her, like, what seeds are these that you're sowing? And she said, okay, these are like lady's finger seeds and these are some greens. So I wouldn't know unless she explained. So similarly, in our own children, to identify their nature also, it takes certain amount of expertise. That is why all this jnana or this knowledge is important. With this information, it becomes a little bit more easier. Like that's why I was telling these are the proclivities. If you're having these types of inclinations, then you can identify that more likely that they are in this field. Also, by exposing the children early in their life to various things, various fields, we can detect. And also there is something called as Varna Samskara that we do. I will come to that in just a minute. So Ravi sir, we are going to get into identifying one's nature soon. But you are very true, very right in saying that, you know, most people are discontent. They're not at all happy. So that number that I gave you in a sample size of 1000, approximately 900 are Shudras and about 90 are Vaishya class, 9 are Kshatriya class and 1 is Brahmana. But the way is that one Brahmana guides the 9 Kshatriyas and the 90 Vaishyas are also provided proper guidance, and then 900 Shudras can be employed in the service, providing different functions for the society. So hopefully in the next section, when we talk about the nature identification, we will be able to know how to characterize each of them more accurately. Ganesh Rao is saying Vairagya. Banuji is saying, I thrive for Jnana and little difficult to renunciate. However, it is becoming easy to renunciate after listening to Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam classes. That's nice. Thirumalai Kumaran sir is saying Jnana and Vairagya. Deepa Giridhari Mataji Jnana. Yogita Mataji also Jnana. What about others? Which prosperity is helping you, helping you move forward in your life in the sense that it's bringing you joy. So Ravi sir is saying Jnana, spiritual and material knowledge to progress in my career, and Aishwarya to protect my retired life. Okay. Okay. So this protecting your retired life, you can do that even in the Jnana field also. So what we are saying is, just inherently what drives you. So here it is a more practical thing that you're saying, Aishwarya, to protect your retired life. But what we are talking about is something that internally motivates you. Like you really come to life when you have this. Abhi Mataji is also Jnana. Looks like a lot of Jnana oriented people here. Okay. So let's get into the next section. So we may go a little over 7 o'clock, but I would like to go ahead and finish it. So let's see. So let's get into a few shlokas here. So Krishna in 33rd shloka of chapter 3 says something very nice. Sadrisham cheshtate swasya prakritirjnanavanapi prakritim yanti bhutani nigraha kim karishyati. So he's saying even a man of knowledge, what to speak of people who are not knowledgeable, even a man of knowledge, according to his own nature, for everyone follows the nature he has acquired from three modes. What can repression accomplish? So Krishna is acknowledging the fact that everybody is driven by their nature. Even if you suppress it, shove it under the carpet, it's going to come out in some form or the other. So how do we identify this nature? Because remember, we are into this matchmaking between nature and field and prosperity. So now we have a fair understanding of the four fields, and then we have a decent understanding of the six prosperities. Now let's see, the key element is how to identify one's own nature. So to identify one's nature, if you can answer these four aspects, what is something that you enjoy doing? It's not a chore. It's not like you get bored by it. You enjoy, you look forward to doing it. And what is something that you are good at? So not only you enjoy doing, but you're also good at doing it. And then also something that challenges you and you don't mind the challenge. You don't mind going that extra mile in meeting that challenge. And when you overcome those challenges and when you are doing that which you enjoy and you're good at, you have a sense of accomplishment. You feel so satisfied. And the way to identify this, a few more tips, is that go back to your childhood. Try to recollect from your childhood. What is that something that you were often good at doing? But a lot of times it also came as maybe reprimanding from our parents. Like there was one parent who was complaining about their child, saying that, my son is always minding other people's business. Like he could be in a room where 10 other kids are there and this boy would know like each and every child, what are they doing, what are they up to. And she was really concerned about this. But when we try to rephrase what she said, well, actually, that is a managerial quality. That's a leadership quality, isn't it? Isn't that what a manager is supposed to do at work? They're supposed to know like all their team members' business, what they're doing, are they really doing what they're supposed to do? And this boy was naturally doing that. But by wrongly phrasing it, this mother was thinking that's a problem. So what this boy needs is some kind of a leadership role, and he's going to naturally be able to keep an eye on everybody's job. Not everybody can do that well. Some people are just good at focusing on what they are doing. But like this boy has the ability to naturally see what everybody else is doing and keep an eye. And there was one teacher who was calling the parents and complaining to them and saying that, there's a problem with your child. And the problem this teacher mentioned was that anytime a guest comes into the class, this boy gets up and greets the guest. And anytime any child is having a problem, he's the first one to go there and help them. And this teacher was thinking that, it's a nuisance. She thought, I'm the teacher, I'm supposed to greet the guest, I'm supposed to help all the children, and why is this boy doing this? So she thought that was the problem. But again, if she could just make this boy the official helper of the class, the official guest greeter of the class, he's naturally showing his nature. And again, giving my own example, this teaching is something that I've enjoyed all through. So even when I look at my school days, childhood days, I used to like even having a little wall, I would just write there, and instead of just reading out, I would make notes on the board. And even now, when I run into or just stumble upon some of my school friends, just the other day, one of my friends was saying in Facebook chats that, that she still remembers the World War lessons that I had shared during the lunch break. She said that I forgot what the social studies teacher taught, but I still vividly remember what you taught to a group of friends just before the exam during lunch break. So teaching is something that's coming naturally. So if we can look at our childhood, so it can give us a pretty good understanding of what is it something that we enjoyed, we were good at, but sometimes unfortunately we were punished for that. And also another way is nature is something that doesn't go away even with reward or punishment. Somebody may say, I will give this to you, just don't do that. But you can't stop what you will do. They may say, they may punish you for doing it, but still that nature will come out. Like there was one boy constantly, doing like this, doing this tapping, and he would always get into trouble. And there was one teacher who said, see me after the class. And this boy thought, oh, there we go. Again, I get into trouble. But then this teacher, after the class, he identified this talent in this boy and he gave him a pair of drumsticks and then played him to, gave him an opportunity to play the drums, and he went on to become like world-class drummer. And how we could do it to our own children, expose them to quite a few things at the beginning of their life and see what they have a natural inclination for, And another Vedic way of doing it is when the child starts crawling, you can do Varna Samskara. So what you do is you place the field of ideas items like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, books, scriptures, and then little distance away you keep the field of government tools like a knife or a mace and things like that what Kshatriyas use. And then you keep Vaishyas, you keep some money, and you keep some different things related to resources, right? Field of resources. And then field of artistry, you keep some tools. And then you leave the child a little far away and let the child crawl up to it and see which one the child will naturally pick up. So we did this for my niece Mokshita when she started crawling, and she picked up Kshatriya. We were thinking she probably may go for the books because every day she hears Bhagavad Gita, at least one chapter, but then she surprised us. But by picking the Kshatriya, she picked up a knife. And actually, until now, when I'm trying to observe, the kind of qualities that she is exhibiting is exactly in line with how Krishna is describing Kshatriyas in Bhagavad Gita. So actually, it's not a surprise. So her guna and what she picked up, that is the knife, Kshatriya, is matching very much until now. So actually, this was the norm. They did this for all the children. Usually at the time of Annaprashna or whenever they started crawling, and they would get an indication, okay, so this is the natural inclination of the child. So just some basic ways of identifying one's nature. It takes quite a bit of astuteness and observation. So Ravi sir is saying Jnana and Yasha to execute my job with integrity. All right, okay. Okay. And in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, Sloka 35, Krishna, it's a very, very important shloka. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharma swanushtitat swadharme nidanam shreyaha paradharmo bhayavaha. Such a beautiful shloka. So Krishna is saying it is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties even though faultily than another's duties perfectly. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties, for to follow another's path is dangerous. And very interesting that Krishna repeats this again in 18th chapter, 47th shloka. And you see the first two lines are exact same. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha paradharma swanushtitat swabhavaniyatam karma kurvannapnoti kilbisham. So pretty much the same thing. It is better to engage in one's own occupation even though one may perform it imperfectly than to accept another's occupation and perform it perfectly. Duties prescribed according to one's nature are never affected by sinful reactions. So very rarely does Krishna repeat something, and here in this case he is repeating it. And a good teacher repeats that which is important. So, and Krishna thinks this is so important that he is taking the time to repeat it twice in Bhagavad Gita, saying that Shreyan Swadharmo Vigunaha, even if it is Vigunaha, even if done faultily, no problem. But what is Shreyaha? What is in our best interest? Swadharma, do your own dharma. And if you do Paradharma, if you are into some other field which you don't have the natural inclination for, even if you do perfectly, still Krishna is telling that is Bhayavaha. It is dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because you are going to contaminate that field for which you don't have the proper nature. And we are not going to be able to sustain in that field. We are not going to be able to make sacrifices in that field. Just like somebody who is an employee in a company, but they are not having Shudra qualities, then they're not deriving joy from their work. And when they're not joyful with their work, they're not enjoying their work, then they think, what is my pay package? What kind of cubicle do I have? What kind of vacation? How many weeks of vacation I get? What kind of boss do I have? What kind of co-workers I have? All these other things we get so busy with. Why? Because we are not basically deriving joy from our own work. So other things take precedence to keep us distracted. And Krishna also says in 18.46, Yata pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is all-pervading, a man can attain perfection through performing his own work. So very, very important. Simply by performing our own work with the proper understanding, even if it is faulty, and we use our work as a way of worshipping the Lord, then Krishna is telling a man can attain perfection simply by performing his own work, by way of worshipping the Lord. So now the important thing is to identify our nature, see in which field we fit in based on the definitions we talked about, and then the prosperities, whatever is our driving factor, so match all these three. So then we can actually spiritualize our work. And the basic thing we should also understand that whatever nature we have, whether it is the nature of a Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya or Brahmana, it's a gift. It's a gift from God. So our nature is gift from Krishna, and what we do with our nature and offer it back to Krishna is our gift to Krishna. So there are 8 principles of career dharma. We don't have the time to go through all the details, but we'll kind of skim through them. So the number one thing is work according to your nature. Do your own dharma. Don't do paradharma. And number 2 is honest work. And honest work means it should genuinely fulfill the need of the people. Not some artificial need. It should be genuine need. And not doing harm to anything. It should be environmentally friendly and it should not be harming other people also. And fair exchange for whatever work you're doing. Don't charge too much. And number 3 is it should add real value. Real value means value that is ultimately somewhere connected to the superior, the supreme. And 4th is giving in charity. So work is not simply to fill our bellies and have a shelter, but it's also to provide in charity, take care, because Varna Dharma is only for Grihasthas. Career is only for Grihasthas. So the householders are supposed to maintain not just themselves, but the brahmacharis, vanaprasthis and sannyasis. So it's a responsibility. So we should give in charity to maintain the other 3 sections of the society. And regularly worship the Supreme. Just now we talked about that. And taking care of the resources of your work. Like for me, right, in Jnana, Vairagya, in the area of teaching, my voice is my resource, so I better take care of it, not abuse it. The laptop, the books, these are all resources which I use to communicate, to get my message across and to serve. So I need to take care of my resources. Phone. Number 7, taking care of your field of wealth. So in whatever field you are, whether it is artistry, resources, government or ideas, take care of that field. Means you contribute to that field, you enrich that field. What is your unique contribution to that field? What value are you adding to the field? Something unique that nobody else is bringing but you have. And very important, no egoism. Just now we said our nature is not ours. It is the gift from Krishna. So why should we be proud about it? So don't be egoistic. So use the nature in the service of the Lord with a sense of gratitude. And whatever prosperities we achieve as a way of using our nature, so that also should be offered as a loving devotional service to the Lord. So these are 8 principles of career dharma. Again, this whole topic is very, very vast, but we've tried to kind of give you an idea in a brief way. At least now you have an idea about, okay, there are 4 fields, what is the basic general definition, and the 6 prosperities, and the nature, identifying one's nature, how they all come together, and the 8 principles of dharma, and how Krishna is telling, do your own dharma, not somebody else's dharma. So this is just the beginning, but as we move forward more and more, we can, hopefully when Urmila Mataji's book comes out, Career Dharma, so if we can dive deep into that, I'm sure it's going to give us a broader, deeper understanding of each of these. But based on whatever I've heard from her, I thought I will share a little bit of what I gathered with all of you. So I hope it's of some use and benefit to you, giving you some clarity. But again, this is not something that we just get in one sitting. I've heard her lectures several times. So you may also have to revisit this quite a few times in order to start absorbing some of these points. And also start acting upon it and see what lifestyle changes you need to make in order to situate yourself in your own field, proper field, based on your own nature. And don't worry like, oh, what will happen if I change my field about my paycheck and this and that. Remember that Krishna is our maintainer. Job is only one of the means. So Krishna is going to sustain you, and there are ways of earning livelihood in other fields also. Okay, so I hope that was of some value to all of you. Career Dharma, Varna Dharma, the 4 fields, 6 prosperities, matchmaking between nature and field and prosperities. The dangers of doing others' work is something we did not dive into because we don't have much time. And the 8 principles of career Dharma, we just quickly breeze through it. So if you found it useful, there is a like button there, the thumbs up button. Please go ahead and hit that and show us some love. So other people will also get inspired to watch the recording, which will be available on Aradhana Online YouTube channel. And if anybody is not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and do it. So because every Saturday we meet from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Indian time, you will be notified of these classes, and also any recordings that we upload, recorded videos, you will get notified of those also. So please subscribe to the channel and also hit that like button and show us some love. And if you have any questions, comments, feedback, any thoughts, please put it in the chat section. Banuji is saying, Mataji, I want to be perfect in what I do, and also I make sure everyone is doing their work and education as a leader all the time in my life. What's my nature? It's difficult for me to just tell you what's your nature just with like 2 sentences of comments there. We may have to do a little bit of work. Like I gave you some pointers. So when we say what's your nature, you have to go back and think for yourself, like in your childhood, like we said, what is it something that you have natural ability for, where you are really good at? And also, Banuji, instead of asking me, which I don't know much about you, I know very little about you, but there are certain people in your life who know quite a bit about you from your family and friend circle. So you want to talk to those people. Maybe for 30 minutes, 60 minutes, you want to pick their brain and ask them, what do you think that, I'm really good at and what I have the natural ability for? And you yourself can also see, these are some of the things, even when it is challenging, you don't mind going the extra mile, you don't mind burning the midnight oil. And when other people say this is difficult for them, for you it comes easily and you enjoy it. You go into the flow state, you forget how many hours it's been that you're doing it, and you don't even feel exhausted after doing it. So in my own case, I can do like an 8 hours workshop and feel energized and go to another 2 hours class where I'm actually speaking and sometimes even standing the whole time. I don't mind doing it because I'm driven by it. It's a natural thing. It's my nature. So like that, you may want to find out. So it takes some time, and it's not something that I can answer like this directly because I don't have that good of an understanding of you, Banuji. Sorry. So between your own introspection and also talking to some people who are close to you, who are your well-wishers, I'm sure you'll be able to nail down what's your nature. Abhi Mataji is saying, amazing session, Mataji. Kudos to you for explaining career dharma patiently. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Appreciate that. Hari Bol. So Banuji is saying, thank you so much, Mataji. All glories to you, Prabhupada and Sri Krishna. Thank you very much. All glories to Prabhupada and Krishna. Yogita Mataji is saying, thanks, Mataji. Very meaningful session. Thank you, Yogita ji. So anybody else have any other questions? Again, to reiterate, this is a deep topic, vast topic. At least this is the beginning. At least you kind of understand that this Brahmana, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra, this is not some outdated thing, but it is quite relevant even for today. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. We'll see you again next Saturday with yet another Grow Through Gita session where we pick all these different themes and try to do a deep dive and understand these topics from the perspective of Bhagavad Gita based on what Krishna is instructing Arjuna. So we'll see you again next week with yet another thematic study. So let's keep continuing to grow through Gita. So Banuji is saying, thank you so much for the guidance. You're very welcome. Tirumalai Kumaran sir is saying, thank you Mataji for such a lovely session. Hare Krishna. Thank you Tirumalai Kumaran sir. Appreciate that. Hare Krishna. So Hare Krishna everyone. See you next Saturday. Until then, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna everyone.